Welcome back, everybody, to the Gin and Thomas Podcast YouTube channel. With me, joined by special guest Brandon Churchill, cocktail extraordinaire. This is our first making a drink episode. We're gonna try to work through our backlog as well as make a couple of staple drinks. And Brandon, you are a local mixologist here in St. Louis.
Of course. I think it's fitting that we are doing the gin and tonic.
Yeah, the gin and tonic to go with Gin and Thomas. And our first episode was a gin and tonic, which you actually special guest on.
I did.
Yeah, so it's a long time coming, but we're really going to break it down. We're going to get into it, and we're going to talk about a couple of tweaks that we like to make as individuals. We have all of our ingredients here. So on our first episode, Gin and Thomas drinks a gin and tonic. It was a little different than what we're doing now, but we're going to be doing a little bit of a variation here. The main point being lemons instead of limes.
Right.
And this is a trend that I've started.
True.
And you're just kind of following me down the rabbit hole, it seems.
I think lemons are a little more bitter.
I am a bitter person, but I feel like lemons actually, while a little more bitter, it brings actually a little more brightness to it, I think.
They're bright and bitter, just like
Yeah, a lot more vitamin C than limes, which is healthy in my opinion. With that said, why don't we get started?
Let's get into it.
On this show, you know we like to do doubles. We didn't come here to not do them, right? Another little difference from our first episode to now is we're using Boodle's gin this time. Can you speak to the difference? This one gave you complimentary glasses.
My grandparents had the Boodle's glasses, and I saw this in the liquor store, and I said, I have to try this gin. So that's what we're gonna do, is we're gonna try it in a gin and tonic, as one would.
But so anyway, Brandon, you were not too much of a cocktail aficionado. Has your opinions changed on the gin and tonic after having a TG's G&T?
I wouldn't say I wasn't a cocktail aficionado, but I did enjoy a cocktail. I just didn't know all of the cocktails.
Right. So for this drink, we're doing 2 shots of gin, and actual 2 shots, not the 2 shots of vodka. And so some recipes call for like 1 part gin, 3 parts tonic, or 2 parts gin, whatever parts. So the way I personally like to do it is I like to go very gin forward. And it's not just for the alcohol content, but I really like to go gin forward and then top it off with tonic. That's okay. And then to finish it off, I'm a bitter person and I like a little hit of the citrus here. And so what I like to do, I squeeze it, and no one wants to stick their pinky in their drink to stir it. So there you go. It's a very visceral experience. Some people just squirt it in and dump it. And well, Brandon brought a stirring stick, so
I'm a little better.
that fixes all of our problems. But on a nice boozy night, I'll stir that drink with my pinky all night long.
See you, buddy.
Oh, that's a full drink. So, thoughts on the lemon gin and tonic?
Oh, I know. That's some good shit, dude.
Yeah.
A very juicy lemon, by the way.
Yeah, no,
and I'm
these are nice
glad it
lemons.
is. I'm glad it's not one of those bitch-ass lemons.
Is this a Meyer lemon, Lipson lemon, Eureka Pink? He doesn't know. Quick little story about gin and tonic. So when I first turned 21, actually, gin and tonic was my go-to drink. I had identified with gin before I even started drinking. I don't know why.
Yeah,
and so
why? How would you identify with gin?
It's not famously people's favorites, but I just kind of decided I liked it before I even started drinking. So when I turned 21 and I started drinking, I had really dedicated myself to making the perfect gin and tonic, which this is not my official gin and tonic. That will be a separate entry. There'll be a podcast episode. It's a lot more involved. When I had perfected the recipe, I call it a TG's G&T, Thomas Gordon's Gin and Tonic.
So what is this?
This is a gin and tonic. This is the Gin and Thomas podcast Gin and Tonic.
You're going to
I have 2 separate gin and tonics.
You're gonna say this is the podcast's gin and tonic.
I hold myself to a higher standard than the podcast.
So you're saying the Thomas gin and tonic is something separate.
The Thomas Gordon's
but
gin
this
and
is
tonic.
the staple drink of the podcast.
This is, all right, tell you what, our first episode was the gin and tonic. The 1-year anniversary will be the TG's G&T.
Fair enough.
Right.
I'm here for that.
But anyway, the joke was you'd get so drunk that you couldn't even, when you couldn't say, I'll have a TG's G&T, that's when I'd cut you off.
Fair
As soon as you start mixing up the letters, you're done. In terms of the drink, though,
This is good.
I really like it.
Really good.
We, like I had said, I've been moving more towards lemons in my drink rather than limes. I think that lemons add a lot more of a brightness. I think while lemons are more sour, limes are just sour. To me, depending on which lime you're using, of course, it's not like a key lime. This gin is very good. I really enjoy it, and I think it's a good crisp gin, and it goes well with a tonic, because there are some gins that are a little too smooth to go with tonics.
A gin and tonic is a good showcase of the gin.
Yeah, absolutely.
You really know what gin you're getting into.
Besides just tasting gin neat, a gin and tonic is the best way to sample your gins, I think. You know, you can go to a bar, order a gin and tonic, and then whatever well liquor they're using, you can take one sip and say this isn't it.
Well, that's kind of like a whiskey and club soda.
Yeah.
How the club soda brings out the whiskey, or like a whiskey water. How the spritz of water will bring out the whiskey.
Yeah. And I feel like a lemon or a lime, any kind of citrus. Longtime listeners know I prefer a yuzu, but any kind of citrus really balances out the gin. It's about tasting those botanicals and florals that go with it. And then the tonic, I am not a snooty tonic guy. Any tonic that'll show off your gin. Just go with that. I'll go with any Canada Dry, Schweppes, whatever.
We have the Polar.
Polar. On a scale of 1 to 10, what do you give it?
Solid 8.
Only dimes are worth my time. 10 out of 10, baby.
I expect nothing less from you, buddy.
Yeah, all right, and that is it. Thank you for watching. Thank you for listening. Be safe, be kind, drink responsibly. Don't drink alone. Share a drink with us. I swallowed a lemon seed. You want to do doubles?
I didn't come here to not do that.
All right.